Museums, unlike any other public entity that I can think of, are safe places for the exchange of ideas, and often critical ideas and challenging ideas.
Their community depends on the vibrancy of their organization.
We like to say that a town without a museum is a town without a soul. HELP historically began as a pilot project in Texas among 18 museums there, and worked in 3 separate regions of Texas. We worked 4 years there to try and lay out some of the guiding principles behind the project, with the basic notion being that if we were able to deliver some kind of technical assistance in different areas, in those days there were things like public programming and exhibit design and volunteer management and aspects like that, that they would all concentrate on that one area and then test it via a traveling exhibition and be able to see sort of how it played out. That was a wildly successful project with really wonderful Texas funders. And on the back of that, we determined that there were a couple of things that didn't go quite as well as they might have. And one of those was that we invested a whole lot of time and energy into a few places, and in the instances in which these places went back to their bad habits, it was because those people left. So we ended up seeing that we were training people and not making as much institutional change as we would hope for, and which gave birth then to help governance. Because help governance was predicated on the notion that if we reach the boards, if we work with the board members and board of directors to get at the heart of what they're about, how it is that they are fundamentally organized, what are those guiding principles, that then we could deliver assistance in a various number of ways, but it would constitute institutional change as opposed to individual change.
So one of the most profound things we do is go in there and work with them as they revisit that sense of mission. Mm-hmm. Then we go in and ask them to revisit their foundational documents, those articles of incorporation, their bylaws, and take a look and see if those things still reflect the organization as it exists today. Right. And make sense for their strategic initiatives for the future.
Well, the French Legation Museum is the oldest house left in Austin today, but it was built to house a French diplomat and serve as an embassy when Texas was a republic in 1836 to 1846.
We have some very wonderful committee members. They're very bright. We have several PhDs, they're professors. We have very dedicated people. But we do feel we could do better in our committee structures.
This is the first real professional development training that staff and boards have had, period. And then what they find is that it just increases their appetite to go further in this. And then what happens after they've had this little bit of professional development training, then they start visioning what they could be.
As Carla said, a focus on mission and figuring out if who they want to be when they grow up, even though many of them are 100 years old, is really has been transformative for a number of these organizations.
Museum's a small museum, small budget, but it's been there 75 years, and now it's become a lot more professional.
This group of organizations, just demographically, constitutes the vast majority of all small museums, or all museums in America, right? Fall into that great category of small and rural. As many as 2/3, of all American museums operate with less than $25,000 a year annually. I mean, these are places that have traditionally been way off the mark in terms of any sort of services whatsoever.
That's a real benefit of helping organizations see that they are part of what Brian says in terms of the soul of a community. And when that's vibrant, then a community is vibrant. One of the most important things is that they sometimes have found themselves lost within in the programming of their own organizations to the exclusion of understanding how important they are in their communities.
It's really helped us in terms of clarifying our mission statement, doing our bylaws, getting them up to date, getting our code of ethics up to date, having a real plan for new board members. It has really helped us consolidate all this and convince the board that to take another step up and be much more professional.
It's been a great chance for us to get to know a great number of cultural organizations, principally museums, that contribute to the cultural fabric of their communities in ways that the rest of us can't begin to understand. And they're rarely acknowledged for it.
The folks that hold that memory, those stories, and that collaboration and what it means to be a resident of that community or that region.
Many of the places that we're lucky enough to work with help allow us chances to see into the heart and soul of these places via their museums. In many ways, I think one of the most profound projects that I've ever had the privilege of working on.
I agree.
We're at a plateau, I felt, and participating in this gives us that extra boost to think a little bit more broadly.
That's great.
And ensure that the museum will be there for a very long
Yes.
time. And how can we ensure that sustainability? What can we do? What things should we be complying with or thinking about, talking about?
The help program has been a lot of help, and we want to thank you all.